I think the gayest I ever was in February. That's when I did my shows in Los Angeles, and Brad Pitt came to my show. Look, I do not know what year he was born or how many infants he consumes in a week, but that man is stunning, all right? He came into my dressing room. I couldn't make eye contact. Do you understand? Like, I was like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? He goes, look at me. I was like, no. He goes, come on. I said, shut up. He goes, you want to give me a kiss? I was like, yeah. And he goes, do it. I'm like that, I kiss. What? It wasn't gay. We took a bath later. That was gay, but we talked about sports, so it balanced out, you know? I moved recently. Because of you nice folks, I could buy a nice house, and I'm very thankful for that. And yeah, thank you. I bought a house in a neighborhood, though, that I think is too nice, you know? Like, it kind of reminds me of a store. You ever walk into a store and, like, right away you're like, I should leave, like, when you get there? I feel like whenever they offer you something to drink in a store, that's a sign, you know? Some stores you walk into and they're like, would you like still or sparkling water? And you're like, I left something in the car. I'll be right back. Well, I mean, all my neighbors, they're like investment bankers and partners in legal firms, and then I'm there. Like, do you eat ass, or what do you do, man, you know? And they're like, thanks for buying a house. It's great to have you. Here's what's wild. A current or former United States Senator, I shall not say whom, lives in my neighborhood. Everybody talks about him. I know which house is his. I'd never met him. Now I'm home from tour, and I decide to start my day with a morning walk, a casual walk. You know, I have some coffee. Let's get the day started. I go for a walk. I walk past his house. He comes outside. I don't say anything, right? But he yells out. He goes, hey, are you the comedian? I go, yeah. He goes, where do you think the term motherfucker comes from? Hello, it's nice to meet you. I go, I don't know. He goes, you think it's from people doing that? I'm like, fucking their moms? And he goes, yeah. I go, I don't know. He goes, how many people do you think do that? I go, more than you want it to be. And he's like, meow. Then, and I am not making this up, I could not make this up, he says to me, how about daughter fuckers? I go, first of all, that's not an expression that anybody uses. Right? No one's like, check out this crazy daughter fucker over here. I go, if you have kinks, we can talk about them, but not like this. I don't like this at all. And he goes, meow. And he just turns around and walks into his house. I'm like, what the fuck was that? So I keep walking, just contemplating every mistake I've ever made that led me to that conversation. And now I'm walking home. So I walk past his house again. He comes back outside. He goes, hey, I didn't want it to end like that. That was weird. It was. He goes, I thought about it. And a motherfucker is not somebody who fucks their own mom. I go, oh, do tell. He goes, a motherfucker is someone who fucks your mom. He goes, that's the most disrespectful thing anyone can do, so if somebody is particularly rude, you call them a motherfucker. And I go, wow. I am so impressed that you put that together so quickly. I can see why you may or may not be Ted Cruz. And then I walked away. Oops. God, it's so weird. People ask me, like, I get asked fucking travel advice from strangers. Can we just break down how crazy that is? Like, people come up to me and they're like, hey, you travel a lot, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, where should I go? I don't fucking know you, man. You ask travel advice to people who know you intimately. They know you well. They can guide you based on what they know about you. I mean, you don't ask strangers dining advice, right? Because you're like, hey, where should I eat tonight? I know I've never met you before in my life, but do you think you could give me a recommendation? Yeah, you should try this dim sum place. But then that person might go, oh, I hate the Asian world. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't know that about you. Like, yeah, I killed like 4 of them. Like, what are you, like a serial killer or something? Yeah. Now you're in an awkward conversation with a serial killer. Here's all I'm saying. I can't tell you where to go. I can tell you where not to go. Wherever they film the first 48 on A&E. Oh, if you're not familiar with the show, here's what it is. Camera crews follow real homicide detectives for the first 48 hours after a murder. And the reason that that time distinction is so important is that after 48 hours, they give up on that murder. They're like, that's some old shit. What do you want to do today? You're like, how about you keep trying to solve that murder, man? That shit happened on Monday. It's Wednesday. We're not going to solve that shit. Really? There are so many amazing moments on that show. So many. A lot of the episodes take a similar path. I'm blown away, first of all, at how many times there's a witness to a murder. It's crazy. I always thought murders happen in dark alleys. Nobody saw shit. No. Every other episode, they're like, you see that shit? And the guy's like, I saw that shit, yeah. Where? Right fucking here. Really, I was standing here, and then he killed that dude there. What'd he look like? He was like 5'2" to 6'8", something like that. And they're like, that's the fucking description you're gonna give us? Uh-huh. Anything else about him? Yeah, he had ears too. Thanks, man. No problem. They still will sketch that shit out. I don't know. And they show it to people. Do you know this guy? And everyone's like, nah. But then one guy will be like, yeah! That's Cricket right there. You're like, oh shit. You know him? I've been knowing Cricket 27 years. What's his real name? Man, that's just Cricket. I don't even know. Stop being white and weird. That's a perfect fucking impression, and you know exactly who that was, okay? Yeah, it's a black guy, and he's wearing a wife beater, and he's got on a dirty hat, and he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And he looks like he's about 33, but you find out he's 76 years old. And he speaks super aggressively to the cops. I've been out here for a minute! And they're like, all right, Jesus Christ. When was the last time you saw him? He came through with jellyfish last week. They were looking for some smoke. And they're like, all right, Jesus Christ. They always cut to the whitest detective from that guy, too. They cut from that guy to the guy who's like, I don't think he's going to help us out. We're going to have to find Cricket on our own. That show has the best moment in television. It's the most dramatic thing you could ever see, because it's real life, and that is the interrogation. The interrogation is amazing, because here's the thing about drama. If you want to have a great, dramatic moment, raise the stakes. Guess what? There's no higher stakes than somebody being questioned about taking somebody else's life. It's inherently compelling television. It is also super serious. But the detectives insist on using the suspect's street name, so the whole thing turns into a fucking cartoon. Like, They're literally like, your life is on the line. We need to talk to you. Why don't you have a seat? Little stank, why don't you sit down for a second? Did you or did you not know Dookie shoes? I don't know no Dookie shoes. I got a picture of you hanging out with Dookie shoes. I mean, I seen them. I don't know. And then they'll throw one bit of evidence against the wall, hoping it'll solve the case. They'll be like, well, we were talking to Naamin, and he said that you were at the 7-Eleven last week. And he'll be like, yeah, I shot him in the face. And you're like, God damn, really? That's all it took to break you? Dude, lie. Lie for longer. You can kill somebody, you can't lie for 10 fucking minutes about it? Like, dudes will break on anything. They'll be like, we heard you had on a blue shirt last Friday. Yeah, I stabbed those 4 people. Dude, a lot of people have blue shirts, man. You can still get out of this. Here's what I've learned watching that show, okay? Lawyer up. You can't handle that shit. Everybody's like, I'm gonna talk to the cops and straighten this whole thing out. You're gonna do 25 to life. Have fun with that, man. Nobody asked for a lawyer. I've seen 300 people get interrogated on this show. 2 of them were like, can I talk to a lawyer? And both times the detectives were like, fuck! And then at the end of those episodes, it said on the screen, all charges against Tayshaun were dropped. Or Jim, pick a fucking name. Let's be honest, there's no Jims on the show. I've seen every episode, and none start with, hey, Bryce, can we talk to you for a second, man? Where were you last Friday? I was over at Tanner's house. Then Skylar had a party, so we went over there. And then we picked up Connor and we had pancakes. Sorry, bro. The detective, bro.
I met, like I said, I'm meeting a lot of people. I met a woman after a show recently. They're allowed at my shows. And see, they're here. And she came up to me and she was like, it's a very specific woman, all right? I do feel like I just did a 0.02 second impression. Everybody's like, I know exactly who you're talking about right now. So, because every city has. You know my favorite part of that woman is if you go, why are you laughing? She'll go, I'm not. Okay. So she comes up to me and she goes, funny show. And I go, thanks. Thanks, motherfucker, I appreciate it. So I go, thank you. And she goes, are you gonna go jerk off all over your hotel room now? And I was like, ugh. I said, I'm probably just gonna pick a spot. You know, I'm not gonna do it. She goes, yeah, I get it. And I was like, good. And she goes, I'm super horny. And I go, okay. She goes, I'm horny the way guys are. And I go, no, you're not. And she goes, yeah. And I said, you're really not. And she goes, yeah? Why do you say that? And I said, let me tell you a little story. When I was a freshman in college, I looked like this. I looked 47 years old. It was alarming to other students. They would see me walking through the doors, and they'd be like, are you a fucking administrator here or something? I'd be like, I'm a freshman, I'm 18. And they're like, you're a narc? That's what you are. This is my birth face, man. I'm 41 Jump Street. So, with this face came great responsibility. I bought alcohol for our entire dorm. I don't mean 3 or 4, everybody. It wasn't even a challenge. I looked so old that when I walked into liquor stores, they'd be like, hello, sir, how's the stock market today? Shit like that. I bought booze to everybody. Everybody got booze. I did the same thing with pornography. And let me tell you, before you jump at me like, why would you do that? You just watch it in your dorm room online. Well, the story takes place in 1997. And There was a lot of buffering back then. That is the truth. I don't know if you remember the late 90s or if you were even around, but like porn in the late 90s was like, ha ha, Who am I kidding? I use my right hand, so. Now, keep in mind, I'm not buying porn for a couple buddies. It is for an entire building of 18-year-old freshman dudes in college. You can't wrap your head around how massive and specific these orders were. I would go door to door, and guys would hand me cash and their wish list. They'd be like, I want black cocks, asses, and feet. Don't fuck it up. I'm like, all right. Do you know what kind of a psychopath I looked like? Walking through a porn store with a grocery list, like... Mom said not to forget. So one day, I am buying outrageous amounts of porn. And the owner of the store comes up to me. He goes, you should go to this other store. And I'm like, that is a weird thing to tell your best customer, man. So I go, why? He just goes, I just think you'll like it. And so I go, okay. I go. He sends me to, I don't know if you've ever been to a cement block building with no sign or address. The kind of building that's like, I don't know, you fucking guess what's in here. Like that? Well, I walk in and I see a man wearing overalls and no t-shirt, which I think we all know is the international uniform for the last guy you'll ever see. Now, this guy is behind the counter. He looks up and sees me, and the first words out of his mouth are, piss fetish? And I go, what? No. And he goes, oh, I got a full bladder. Don't want to waste it. And I go, what the fuck? I said, is that what you do around here? And he goes, among other things. I said, well then, show me around. Like, let me see what else you have. You know? I don't want to be closed-minded. So we go through the store. He shows me movies and toys. He goes, we got a booth. You can put in a quarter. And I go, yeah, I got it. He goes, but this here's our VIP. And you'll notice there's a hole in the wall. And if you're standing in there, someone might stick their finger through that hole. And they'll go just like this. And if you want to, you stick your prick in that hole and someone will suck it on the other side. And my dumbass goes, is it a guy or a girl? He goes, you see any other cars in that parking lot, Junior? So then I felt a pool of diarrhea forming inside of me and fear shooting down my spine, as I was certain I was gonna get kidnapped and raped by Mr. Fuck Dynasty. So I said, I'll just take my movies, thanks. So lady, when you say you're horny the way guys are, I ask you, are you willing to go into an unmarked building and wait behind a wall for a stranger to stick his dick through a hole in that wall and then you polish it off for the love of the game? Because that's what savages men are. And she goes, yeah, I'm not that horny. And I go, I know. See, I just feel a responsibility to remind women of what pigs men are. If you're a woman and you're here with a man right now, you should know he is 2 drinks away from walking into that booth. And honestly, I'm no better. If he had answered my question differently, if I'd have been like, hey, is that a guy or a girl? And he went, I don't know. I'd be like, well, I don't fucking know either, so. Wow, she's got a rough chin on her for sure. Hey, where'd you go, man? I don't see you anywhere. All right, I lost some of you on that one. That's fine, that's how that goes. So, I know, I see. Some women are like, My man would never do that. Okay, sure.
Sometimes you witness the power imbalance play out in front of you between the genders in a grotesque fashion. Of course, when I say the genders, I am only speaking of 2 of the several hundred that now exist. I would like it to be clear where I stand. I have no problem calling anybody anything they wish to be called. It is no burden on me. You can identify as a shoelace if you want to. And I will call you Zippity Zimzer if you ask me to. Do I think it's a little silly? Yeah, but so is badminton, and that's an Olympic event, you know? So here's what happened. I was shooting a movie a few months back, and one day we wrapped up kind of early for filmmaking. It was late afternoon, and I walk off set, and I notice there's a bar across the street. I go, I'm gonna walk into this bar, have a drink, go back to the hotel. Simple enough, right? I walk in, I see a woman seated at the bar doing what I can only describe as weird shit. If you're like, what do you mean, Tom? Well, I think there's a normal spectrum of behavior that you see from one seated at a bar. You know, if you see them seated there, you might see them go like this, or like, hey, or maybe even, ha ha. This lady is seated at the bar, and she's going, I'm like, is she making fudge? What is she doing over there? I also notice it late. Like, I notice it as I'm walking past it. That happens sometimes, right? Like, you walk, you see something as you're passing it, you're like, that's some crazy shit, and you keep walking, and then you're like, I need to see that again. I don't know how I'm gonna see it again. Now I'm dead center, and I see that a woman, to be clear, is in public, 4:30 in the afternoon, and she is sitting there fucking peeling her potato. I don't know, playing with her pussy. You know what I'm trying to say. And she is not hot, if you're wondering. If you're like, was she super hot? No, she wasn't. And because of that, I tattletaled immediately. So, you know what's up. So I go to the bouncer, I go, excuse me. That not model over there is diddling herself at the bar. And this big yoked dude looks, and he goes, I go, yeah, talk to her. And he goes, mm-mm. I'm like, excuse me? He goes, I don't want anything to do with that shit. I'm like, I don't think anybody does. There's a woman masturbating at the bar. He's like, ugh, like he's put out by my outrageous request. He's like, all right, man, Jesus Christ. So he gets up, he walks like halfway there, turns around, he goes, yeah, I couldn't do it, man. I go, you have to. So he calls over the hostess, this cute little 22-year-old. He's like, what's up, guys? And he goes, handle that. And she's like, okay. She goes over there, super polite, which is fucked up, considering the circumstances. I can't hear her, but I can read her body language. She's like, hi. And she's like, everybody can see you. And then she goes, stop it. Stop it. And she goes, you promise? And she goes, thank you. And she comes back and she goes, she stopped. I'm like, she finished or she stopped? She goes, she stopped. And I go, okay. I'm like, wait, is she allowed to stay? And she goes, yeah. I go, why? And she goes, because she stopped. I go, I'm sorry, would I be allowed to stay? If I was just sitting at your bar, just kind of toying with the top, you know, like. Would you tap me on the shoulder and be like, excuse me? Will you put your leaky dick back into your pants? Thanks. You want some chicken fingers or Sprite or something? I say, you call the SWAT team and they would rappel into the building. Someone would crack my fucking head on the side of the bar, and you'd have a parade as my corpse was carried out. And she goes, you're right about that. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. I don't jerk off in bars.
That porn has gotten way too aggressive these days. It's way too aggressive. You know where it's at? 80s porn. Yeah. Go to your dad's drawer. Pull out a VHS. Watch an 80s porn. That's when porn was fun and exciting and consensual. And they had 80s porn had fun little plot lines like, I've lost all my pants! What am I gonna do with this cock? And then some girl will be like, you can keep it in here for a week. And these days, it's all choking and spit my mouth, spit my ass. Everyone's spitting on everybody. And the titty slapping. Right? Not cool. Not sexy. No. Do you like having your titties slapped? No. You like it like that. Or even like if it's from behind, like a. But not like. Stop slapping titties. That's where mama's milk comes from, alright? That's what this show's all about. That's what I want you to leave with today. My message for 08. To change America. Stop slapping titties. Thank you guys very much.
I still haven't found a place for it, but I'm working on it. So I met, like I said, I'm meeting a lot of people. I met a woman after a show recently. They're allowed at my shows. And see, they're here. And she came up to me and she was like, it's a very specific woman, all right? I do feel like I just did a 0.02 second impression. And everybody's like, I know exactly who you're talking about right now. Because every city has. You know my favorite part of that woman is if you go, why are you laughing? She'll go, I'm not. Okay. So she comes up to me and she goes, funny show. And I go, thanks. Thanks, motherfucker, I appreciate it. So I go, thank you. And she goes, are you gonna go jerk off all over your hotel room now? And I was like, ugh. I said, I'm probably just gonna pick a spot. You know, I'm not gonna do it. She goes, yeah, I get it. And I was like, good. And then she goes, I'm super horny. And I go, okay. She goes, I'm horny the way guys are. And I go, no, you're not. And she goes, yeah. And I said, you're really not. And she goes, yeah, why do you say that? And I said, let me tell you a little story. When I was a freshman in college, I looked like this. I looked 47 years old. It was alarming to other students. They would see me walking through the doors and they'd be like, are you a fucking administrator here or something? I'd be like, I'm a freshman, I'm 18. And they're like, you're a narc, that's what you are. This is my birth face, man. I'm 41 Jump Street. So, with this face came great responsibility. I bought alcohol for our entire dorm. I don't mean 3 or 4, everybody. It wasn't even a challenge. I looked so old that when I walked into liquor stores, they'd be like, hello, sir, how's the stock market today? Shit like that. I bought booze to everybody. Everybody got booze. I did the same thing with pornography. And let me tell you, before you jump at me like, why would you do that? You just watch it in your dorm room online. Well, the story takes place in 1997. And there was a lot of buffering back then. That is the truth. I don't know if you remember the late 90s or if you were even around, but like porn in the late 90s was like, Who am I kidding? I use my right hand, so. Now, keep in mind, I'm not buying porn for a couple buddies. It is for an entire building of 18-year-old freshman dudes in college. You can't wrap your head around how massive and specific these orders were. I would go door to door, and guys would hand me cash and their wish list. They'd be like, I want black cocks, asses, and feet. Don't fuck it up. I'm like, all right. Do you know what kind of a psychopath I looked like? Walking through a porn store with a grocery list? Like, Mom said not to forget. So one day, I am buying outrageous amounts of porn. And the owner of the store comes up to me. He goes, you should go to this other store. And I'm like, that is a weird thing to tell your best customer, man. So I go, why? And he just goes, I just think you'll like it. And so I go, okay. I go. He sends me to, I don't know if you've ever been to a cement block building with no sign or address. The kind of building that's like, I don't know, you fucking guess what's in here. Like that? Well, I walk in and I see a man wearing overalls and no t-shirt, which I think we all know is the international uniform for the last guy you'll ever see. Now, this guy is behind the counter. He looks up and sees me, and the first words out of his mouth are, piss fetish? And I go, what? No. And he goes, oh, I got a full bladder. Don't want to waste it. And I go, what the fuck? I said, is that what you do around here? And he goes, among other things. And I said, well then, show me around. Like, let me see what else you have. I don't want to be closed-minded. So we go through the store. He shows me movies and toys. He goes, we got a booth. You can put in a quarter. And I go, yeah, I got it. He goes, but this here's our VIP. And you'll notice there's a hole in the wall. And if you're standing in there, someone might stick their finger through that hole. And they'll go just like this. And if you want to, you stick your prick in that hole and someone will suck it on the other side. And my dumbass goes, is it a guy or a girl? He goes, you see any other cars in that parking lot, Junior? So then I felt a pool of diarrhea forming inside of me and fear shooting down my spine, as I was certain I was gonna get kidnapped and raped by Mr. Fuck Dynasty. So I said, I'll just take my movies, thanks. So lady, when you say you're horny the way guys are, I ask you, are you willing to go into an unmarked building and wait behind a wall for a stranger to stick his dick through a hole in that wall and then you polish it off for the love of the game? Because that's what savages men are. And she goes, yeah, I'm not that horny. And I go, I know. See, I just feel a responsibility to remind women of what pigs men are. If you're a woman and you're here with a man right now, you should know he is 2 drinks away from walking into that booth. And honestly, I'm no better. If he had answered my question differently, if I'd have been like, hey, is that a guy or a girl? And he went, I don't know. I'd be like, well, I don't fucking know either. So. She's got a rough chin on her for sure. Hey, where'd you go, man? I don't see you anywhere. All right. All right, I lost some of you on that one. That's fine. That's how that goes. So, I know, I see. Some women are like, My man would never do that. Okay, sure. But we as a nation, we have been traumatized by these horrific laws and people being imprisoned for having weed. And it highlights the absurdity of not only it having been illegal and so crazy for so many years, but also highlights how the next generation will not believe our stories about it at all. There's a 0% chance they will understand what we're talking about. It'd be like trying to tell a kid now, like, hey, you know, pigeons used to deliver messages to people. They'd be like, the fuck are you saying right now? It'll be the same thing. I'm gonna sit my son down one day and be like, you know, when I was your age, to get weed, I almost died. And he'll be like, why? Was 7-Eleven on fire or something? They didn't sell it at 7-Eleven. Daddy used to get in cars with strangers. Where are we going? Chill out, all right. The 3-hour round trips to buy weed. And if you're like, oh, what kind of weight were you moving? $20 worth of marijuana? That kind of major shit? I bought weed from a dude in a standalone trailer one time. Not a trailer park, a solo trailer. The most terrifying housing situation that exists. Like where other trailer people are like, get the fuck out of here. They kick him out. I just walk up to that shit, 15. And this dude's like, you trying to get a sack? I was like, oh shit, yeah. He goes, we could go do that. I was like, all right, cool. And he goes, we just need to go get it. I was like, you don't fucking have it? Isn't that your sole responsibility? So I tried to play cool. I was like, all right, let's go get it. He goes, I'll go get it. You stay here and watch my place. And I was like, okay. And he goes, there's a .357 and a shotgun on my bed. Anybody comes in here, blast them. Inside, paralysis. But what I said was, that's what's up. Like, yeah, man. And then he stopped at the door and he goes, but don't shoot my mom. I go, can we get a description before we agree to terms? How about a height and weight on old mom? Not everybody agrees on weed. That's fine. I don't care. Like my parents, you know, we don't agree on it. They're not cool with weed. I don't care. They're old. I still love them. My dad's a Vietnam vet. You know, some of them are cool with weed. Some of them are not. Some of them don't want to talk about Vietnam. My dad does. Some vets are like, I don't want to talk about it. And my dad's like, what do you want to know? Here's what I wanted to know when I was a kid. It's terrible to ask a stranger this, but it was my own father. You know, I'd seen a lot of movies, so I'm like, you're in the war. Did you kill anybody? The first time I asked him that, he goes, no, I didn't. I go, all right, okay. A few years later, I asked him again, did you ever kill anybody? He goes, it wasn't like that. I was a lieutenant. I was in charge of people. It just didn't work like that. I said, okay. And then a few years later, I asked him again. I go, did you ever kill anybody? And he goes, I threw grenades into bunkers. I go, were there people in there? He goes, there were, yeah. Just little pieces by the time I got in there. And then last year I go, did you ever kill anybody? And he goes, there's no better feeling than killing the enemy. Whoa. I can remember the first time we ever talked about weed because it was Christmas Day. That's why it stood out. I was 12 years old. I think my sister brought it up. She was like, I want to smoke weed. And my dad goes, you want to know what I think of marijuana? And I was genuinely curious. I go, what, Dad? He goes, I was at a party one time, and somebody pulled out a marijuana cigarette. And I said, I'm out of here. And I was like, cool story, nerd. You got any other ones? And he goes, well, yeah, one time I was in Vietnam, and some Viet Cong tried to sell my Marines marijuana. So I found him, and I picked him up by his throat, and I threw him on the ground, and I put my M16 in his face, and I said, if you ever come here again, I'll fucking kill you. And I go, do you have any stories in between those two stories? Jesus, it's Christmas, bro. God damn. 2 years after that, there was a woodpecker fucking up our house. This will all make sense. And woodpeckers can really damage your house. I remember my dad paid a guy $500 to patch up that part of the house. A month later, the woodpecker returned. This time, my dad did not call the guy. He woke me up, his teenage son, on a Saturday morning. Picture you're dead asleep, and my dad whispering in your ear with his potent dad breath. He just whispers in my ear, dead asleep. He goes, I need you to shoot a bird. I just go, I don't do that. And he goes, figure it out. So I said, okay, Lieutenant. And I got an air rifle. I shot the woodpecker. I remember I shot it mid-peck, so it was going like, landed in front of me, so much bigger up close, really big, red feathers, distinct features. I was blown away. I bagged it up, I threw it away, and then I went over to my girlfriend's house. I started telling her family about it over lunch. I should mention, at the time, my girlfriend's family ran a wildlife conservation center, so I didn't know my audience, but I heard a few forks drop, and I look up, and her dad goes, oh my God, you killed a long-billed woodpecker. That's an endangered species. And I go, oh. I said, my dad made me do it. And he goes, how does that make you feel, knowing that you did that? And I said, there's no better feeling than killing the enemy. And it's fucking awesome. I loved it. Those birds are extinct now. I did that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm crazy. So, and I get why you laugh at my physical flaws. Physical flaws are funny. They just are. Disabilities are not. But some are. Most aren't. We know those ones, you know? Like if there's a 10K or a quilt, it's pretty bad. But the rest are up for debate. And if you're sitting here and you're like, well, when is it ever funny? Well, luckily for you, I have 3 examples. First, foreign accent syndrome. Some of you know about it, some of you don't. It's real. You can look it up on your way out of here. Some people experience head trauma. Not funny. But they wake up speaking their native language with a foreign accent. Very funny. I defy you to watch interviews with these people and not piss yourself laughing. Do you understand? Like a farmer in Alabama who's normally like, that guy hits his head and is now like, the tractor trailer, it fell. A la mer. That's not funny to you, you piece of shit? Really? The best case ever of foreign accent syndrome happened in the UK. And not only was it a British woman who lived her entire life in the UK, she'd never left the town she was born in for 33 years. She was in an accident, and she woke up speaking English, but with a Chinese foreign accent. Did you hear what I just fucking said? Do you now believe in God and his awesome sense of humor? A British lady who her whole life was like, hello, it's a bit of a whiffle, isn't it? Like that. Now says, I have not had my conversation for over 3 years now. First of all, do you know how hard it is to do that impression without squinting? Secondly, if you're getting uncomfortable, like, whoa, he's mocking an Asian accent? No, she's white. This is fine. A white British lady just happens to say, would you like a cup of tea? Tastes good? You want milk? You want biscuit? Oh, good. You want me to suck the dick now? I don't know, whatever. She's a nice British lady. She can say whatever she wants. Now, if you're sitting in your seat right now and you're like, I don't think it's funny. Well, don't get your tits in a tussle. I got 2 more for you. So, what about persistent genital arousal disorder? That is a fancy way of saying never not coming. These are people that have orgasms every 90 seconds, and they can't have jobs. Why can't they have jobs, Tom? Because they're coming all the time. It's not appropriate for you to be like, can I try on this shirt? And the guy's like, fuck your shirt. I'm gonna wear my old shit. I'm not wearing your fucking shirt. Can you imagine? You're like, oh, we're out of orange juice? Or, oh. Just bring water. That's too much sugar. I don't want any more of that. Some people suffer from both of those afflictions. You know that? It's rare, but it happens. Can you imagine that? That like you just walk up to someone, you're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your dad passing away. And he's like, that feels good. I made that one up. That's not true. But that was cheap, but that was fun. Now, if you're still not on board with this, how about an old, reliable one? You know, how about Tourette syndrome? Yeah. Maybe you've heard of that. If you haven't, let me tell you. When I was in 5th grade, my parents sent me to a new school on a Wednesday. I'll never forget. It was a Catholic school, and on Wednesdays, they had Mass. So picture you're a new student at a new school, you don't know anybody, and the first thing you're doing is you're going to church. So I walk in, and the priest starts the service. He goes, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the kid in the row in front of me goes, fuck your cunt. And I'm like, Nobody did anything, no one batted an eye. He just goes, Holy Spirit, starts reading from the Bible. This kid goes, lick my balls. Fuck you. I am laughing so goddamn hard. But I know I'm not supposed to laugh. It sounds like I'm having a stroke. I'm 10. I'm like, I have tears running down my face. And finally I'm able to get out, how come nobody else is laughing? And the kid next to me goes, he's got Tourette's. It gets old. 3 years I was at that school. That shit never got old. That was the greatest gift God ever bestowed upon me. And I'll tell you this, the greatest day of my life, up until the day my son was born, was the day we had a substitute teacher that year, and they didn't warn her about him. Your imagination is serving you correctly. It was glorious. I watched a 10-year-old boy break a grown woman's spirit. These poor substitutes, they don't know what's going on in your class, you know? She walked in, somehow they didn't tell her, and she's like, read chapter 3. And then his tics would build, meaning they would start small. So he would sit in class and be like, hey. So she goes, what's going on? And we're like, she doesn't know. And then he would do this every day. He would take markers and paint his own shirt. Again, every day he did it, but she doesn't know about it. So she sees it. She's like, what are you doing? He goes, what do you think, bitch? Ah! Then he starts painting his face with the marker. And she goes, stop that. And he goes, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. And she's like, what's happening? What's happening? And we go, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? Like that. When she killed herself, she's dead. So. She's out of teaching, but she's fine. So,
You ever meet somebody and they're so boring, you feel like they poisoned you? Like, you're talking to them and you're like, I feel like I'm dying right now. And I think you did it. This guy's name is Craig. I met him. I made sure to get it. I was like, I'm gonna remember you for the rest of my life, man. I met him at the bank. Is he a bank teller? No. Is he a security guard? Nope. What's his job? I don't know. Whatever they call that guy that stands in the lobby of banks now, where you walk in and you're like, do you work here? And he's like, I think so. That guy? The lobby liaison? Well, I saw him. We made eye contact. I don't know how you work. For me, if we make eye contact during the day, not at night, but during the day, out of human decency, I acknowledge you. So that's what I did. We made eye contact, and I go, how you doing? And he went, and I was like, okay. So then I get to the second set of doors to walk in, and as I reach for that door, I hear, you going to the bank? I go, is this still a bank? He goes, yeah. I go, I'd like to. And he goes, go for it. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then I reach back, and he goes, I'm going to Virginia next week. Are you telling me that? He goes, you said, how you doing when you got here? I had to think about it. That's what I'm doing. I go, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard anybody say. And also not how that question works, but all right. And now I reach back, and he goes, yeah, my sister lives there. And I'm like, how long she lived there? Now I'm roped in. He goes, 15 years. And I go, you've never been? And he goes, uh-uh. Now I'm starting to look at him like, hey, man, do you drive to work or does somebody drop you off? You know what I mean? I think he could. Yeah. I think he could see it in my face because out of nowhere he goes, I drive. I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. I drive too. That's crazy. I got to get in here. He goes, yeah, we're going to check out D.C. and we're going to see some monuments. I go, I would love to hear about it, but I have to make a deposit. He goes, well, I'll be here when you walk out. I go, you motherfucker. Fuck that guy, and fuck everybody like him. If you have the audacity to tell people how you're doing when they say, how you doing, that shit is rude and selfish, all right? I'm serious. There are two acceptable answers to how you're doing. Fine and great. And if you're miserable, you say fine. You don't burden people with your real world problems during a courteous exchange. Yeah. Yeah, I've been on a tour, which no one really has been on this scale or scope before. It's pretty wild. I've toured all of North America, and then I have, Australia, New Zealand. I have Latin America coming up. Then I do Europe, then I do Asia, and then I pass away at the very end. But, my agent wants a boat, so let's hook him up. The best part of international touring, if you're a performer, is that you get treated so much better than you should ever be treated. I mean, my theory is they can't believe you took the flight. I'm serious. My last tour ended in Australia. I got off the plane, and the promoters meet you there. They're like, you're here? And you're like, yeah, we have a contract. I thought we were doing this, And then they offer you the world. It's wild. Like, they go, we're going to take you to the best restaurant in the country tonight. I go, oh, wow, thank you. And they go, tomorrow, you'll be on the field for a rugby match. I'm like, no shit. And they go, the next day, you're going to meet the prime minister. And you're like, this is for stand-up? Are you sure about this? One of them says to me, would you like a private tour through an animal sanctuary? And I was like, yeah, I would. It was amazing. Then the lady in charge of that place goes, would you like to hold a koala? I go, let me ask you something. Who the fuck says no to that? Of course I want to hold a koala. They're adorable. And I did, and it was. And then she walked me out. And she goes, I hope you have great shows in Australia. I said, thank you very much. She goes, can I ask you a favor? I'm like, yeah, anything. She goes, don't make the same koala jokes everybody makes. And I go, you got it. What the fuck would those be? And she goes, you know, because koalas have chlamydia. And I go, wait, what? She goes, most koalas in the wild have chlamydia, but it's a different strain than what humans have. Okay. She goes, everybody makes the same joke. Don't fuck a koala, because you'll get chlamydia. And it's just not true. Okay. And she goes, will you tell people? I will never let her down. And if you guys leave here with anything tonight, I hope it is this. You can go to Australia, and you can fuck all the koalas that you want to, and you will not get chlamydia. Also, speaking from experience, it is not that fun. They wiggle a lot, they smell weird. I recommend a hand job from a kangaroo. They have these little paws, and they let you come in their pouch, and they bring it home to their families. That's a bloomin' onion, mate, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's all the same cliche shit they said when we were kids, they now say as adults, right? They're like, oh, you know, you watch too much TV, it'll rot your mind, or you can't learn anything from television, but that's not true. You can learn a lot from television. For instance, without television, I would have no idea that Steven Seagal is out of his fucking mind. Or alive. I also didn't know that. He has a show. It's not a scripted show. It follows around the real Steven Seagal, and every episode begins with him looking in the camera and saying, I don't know if you knew this or not, but for the last 20 years, I've been a cop. And you're like, what did you just say? I thought you've been making shitty movies for the last 20 years. What are you talking about? And you watch the show, he has the most unlikable quality in a human being, which is that he is an expert in everything. Literally, if a dog walks by, he's like, that's a Shih Tzu boxer hound mix right there. And they're like, how do you know that? He's like, I've been working with dogs for like 35 years. Then a helicopter flies by, and he's like, that's a HUB 106. And they're like, how do you know that? And he's like, I've been flying helicopters for like 47 years. Then he does the thing, though, that everybody does who knows something about everything. Everybody has a friend, no matter what you're doing. They know the history of it all. They know every topic, every fucking fact. If you're eating dinner, they're like, you know, forks are from the Roman times, and they would sculpt them out of bark. And you're like, will you shut the fuck up and let me finish this, please? Seagal will do that, too, but you know he's making it up. He'll be like, you know, they also call that helicopter a skippy. And they're like, why? He goes, listen to it. Skip. That's bullshit. You made that shit up. No, seriously. It just blows my mind. It really does. That everybody in this room, everybody has this real world possibility in their lives. All of us. We could go tonight, if we wanted to, tonight. You could go to Louisiana. You could start a fight in a bar. And there is a real world possibility that Steven Seagal will arrest you. Isn't that insane to you? I've lost sleep over this shit. I mean, That's crazy. That's literally like if you leave here and you roll through a stop sign and then Sylvester Stallone is like, hey, roll it down. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. You work here? He's like, it's my passion, yeah. Will you say Adrian or something? Nah. It's nuts. You have to watch this show. He panders to every group according to race, knowing full well there's a camera crew following him around. He doesn't give a shit. If you're white, he's like, how's it going? All right. And then to black people, he's like, what's up, cuz? And they're like, hey, what's up? I'm holding you down, so holla if you need something. Okay. And then to all Latino, Spanish-speaking people, he insists on speaking horrifically broken Spanish, even if they start the conversation in English. If they're like, hey, yeah, I called 911, thank you for coming. The thing is, he's like, hola. Mucho queso. He's like, I think my English is way better than your Spanish, man. And he's like, no, gracias. No. And then to all Asian people, he bows, regardless of where he meets them. If you're Asian and you cross Steven Seagal's path, he's like, yeah. And you sit and they go, hey, I was born here, you dick. Like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, sorry, I've been doing martial arts for like 85 years. He trains other cops in hand-to-hand combat. I think that's infuriating. For those cops. It's not like we're hanging out. We're like, hey man, do you want to do like a couple shots and then go down the street? Steven Seagal is teaching people how to throw punches. And we're like, okay, yeah, let's fucking go. No, it's you're a cop and you show up at work and they're like, we're going to go over hand-to-hand combat today so you can protect yourself if you're in a really dangerous situation. You're like, oh cool, who'd you bring in to teach us? Like some Navy SEALs or Green Berets? And they go, no, we brought in Steven Seagal. And you're like, are we shooting a fucking movie this week or something? Like, okay, I'll pass, because that's ridiculous. I don't want to be a part of that. That's literally like if you're like at NASA, and they're like, all right, future astronauts, we're going to go over space exploration, and to get us started, why don't you welcome Captain Kirk? Come on out, man. And you're like, is he qualified to do this? And they're like, oh, you've seen him do all that shit. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about, man. He's been up there. They show him teaching people how to fight. It's horrible. He's bloated now. He doesn't have the same range of motion. He's like, everybody line up. If somebody throws a punch, you can block it like that. And then you can kick him in the throat like that. Are you kicking a child in the throat right now? Some people's throats are down there. I like Havarti cheese the most. What's your favorite? My doctor comes in. He doesn't say hello. He doesn't say good morning. He just walks in. He points at me, which is super aggressive, you know, to start a conversation with somebody like, hey, man. You're like, hey, what's up, man? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, what? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, I don't get it. And he goes, has nobody told you that your hair's falling out? And I was like, damn. No. And he goes, oh, sorry. All right. Then he pulls my chart out of the slot, super dramatic, so that it makes a fucking noise. He goes, I'm like, and he goes, wow. And I'm like, really? Wow. Is it full-blown AIDS? Like, why is it wow? And he goes, you weigh 245. And I go like, yeah, like I knew that shit. And he goes, you weighed 230 last time you were here. Not exactly what I would call weight loss. And I'm like, are we at a fucking roast or something? Right? Like, what are you doing? Then he says, you know, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. And I go, it's 9:30 in the morning. And he goes, still. He's like, we ran your blood work. It turns out your muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I go, yeah, man, like, I'm super strong. Like, how's that a problem? And he goes, they're off the charts. I'm like, even better. I'm probably your strongest patient, man. And he goes, I don't think you understand muscle enzymes. And I go, that's true. I don't know what they are. And he goes, well, the only way you could have them this high would be like, A, if you were an Olympic athlete, which clearly, I'm like, dude, what is the deal, man? And he goes, the other way would be if you were a cocaine addict. And I go, I don't do coke. And he goes, I'm your doctor. You don't have to lie to me. And I go, I'm not lying. And he goes, I can't treat you if you're not going to be honest. And I go, hey, man, aren't cokeheads skinny? Isn't that like part of the deal? And he goes, usually, yeah. The nurse comes in. She takes my chart out of his hands, and she goes, oh, my God. His muscle enzymes are so high. Maybe he runs marathons. And my doctor goes, look at him. So at this point, I go, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me today. Oh, the crocodile hunter has died. But you know what? He had to die to balance out the universe, all right? If he would have lived to be 104 and died of fucking hay fever or something, the earth would have exploded, all right? Because he ignored one of the universal rules, which is don't fuck with animals, right? But he didn't just ignore it, did he? No. He waved his dick at it, didn't he? Yeah. He danced the foxtrot around it, And all I'm saying is, if you're gonna run around the world and bang hookers every day for 20 years without a condom, you can't cry when it burns. Right? And normally speaking, don't you, whenever you hear of like a person getting attacked by an animal, don't you get kind of a little kick in your step? I'm the only asshole in this fucking room, really? I feel like somebody gave me a hug every time I hear about that shit. I don't give a fuck. Because there's a sense of justice to it. The person was probably fucking with the animal's territory, so I'm like, you deserve that, you dick. Like, haven't you ever seen the footage of the hunter he was out to kill, and his gun jams, and then a deer fucks him up? You seen it, right? He's like, oh, my shit, my gun jammed. Cock-a-doodle-doo. And then there's a little gangster-ass deer across the street, just eating berries and being pretty. And he hears something. He's like, are you gonna shoot me, man? And then it doesn't even hesitate. And it just goes, pow, like that. And he does the front shit where the guy goes down, and he does the back shit, like, I'm so fat, I'm out of breath just from doing that shit right there. Christ almighty.